Now on to my overall experience. So it's 5 days. It's very intense. There is a lot of learning in a short period of time. Like there's really no time for breaks. Like you're just going from one thing to another. Let me give a quick shout out to our facilitators. By the way, we were group 195. Nate was awesome and created a Facebook group for us. He created the group while we were during the week of the Sims class, and we were commenting our experience and questions, and then even afterwards we still stay connected on it. So that is a great thing to do. So hopefully everyone, at least one person from every group, can do that. But yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to our facilitators, and I'm just trying to think if it's okay if I say their names. I don't know if it is, but the one facilitator, we will call him Amir, and the other facilitator, we will call her Amara. But anyways, we had really great facilitators. One was a broker of record, one was a salesperson. Both have been in the industry for 10 years or more. So very experienced people. We had a great session. Even the participants, the students in it, were all awesome. We had people from all over the geographic locations and different experience levels, and we all came together and really had a good session, asked lots of good questions, even some questions the facilitators didn't think of themselves. So it was really interesting and it was fun, that's for sure. So my experience with, so I wrote some notes. So day one, you're overwhelmed. Oh, let me go over dress code first. Dress code. There is none. Don't worry about it. Don't pretty up yourself like this. This is how I get for videos. This is not how I looked during the simulation classes. So it's a Zoom, and you have to have your video on, and you have to have your sound on most of the time. If there's someone talking, you can mute it, and that's fine. But your video always has to be on unless it's break time. And when you go on break, you don't come out of the Zoom. You just put your mute on and you take your video off, but you have to stay in the session. So you don't need to dress up. Some people dressed up because, you know, it's quarantine and there's really not much to dress up for. So this is an exciting time. Me, I had a rough weekend right before this started, so I didn't dress up at all. But just to say, it's not mandatory for you to dress up. Just go in casual. Some people have questions about kids, so it is best to be in a quiet environment where there's no distractions. But if there's people walking behind or there's kids in the background, it's better to have them not there, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world if they are there. There's a few times where my daughter just happened to come walking in the screen, or, oh my God, one time she unplugged the internet and I lost connection. But just try and avoid having them there. But if they are there, then that's fine. There's a couple people in our class who their kids came in and out, and it's just a funny moment to laugh at. But yeah, attendance, you have to be there every day. If you are missing, it will be noted on your profile. You need at least, I think it said, I mentioned in the last video, but I think it's about 80% presence. Like you need to be there for at least 80% of the whole time in order to be able to complete it. So keep that in mind. Day one was very, very, very packed of information. It was fast paced because you're not really expecting, you don't know what to expect and what it's going to go like. There's just information coming every which way. So by the end of day one, you are mentally exhausted. At least I was, and a few other people in the group were. So it's very fast paced. Make sure you have your booklet and your workbooks ready. If you want to do it on the computer and you can function that way, awesome, go for it. So in my workbooks, I don't know why, but like some of the things, it doesn't look bad there actually, but just the booklets. some, like the agreements of purchase and sale, I couldn't, it's fuzzy and I can't read it properly. So that was a downer. And so I ended up having to pull some of them up on the screen to read the correct wording. You know, if Humber just printed it for us, I'm sure that would have been fine, but that's a battle for another day. But anyways, so yes, so it's, the classes range, I don't know, from like 15 to 25 people, depending on how many people are registered. And there's a lot of times where everybody's on the screen and you're all talking together, listening to the facilitator. And then there's also a lot of time where you go into breakout rooms. So every day you're supposed to be distributed with different people, but sometimes technology just wasn't working. So you may get the same, be in the same group the next day, which is fine. But you'll have little breakup rooms where the facilitator will distribute everybody, and then it will be like 3 or 4 of you doing activities together. My tip is to make sure you have your chargers, your laptop, because you're going to be on the computer for like a good 7 to 8 hours straight. So have your laptop charger available, and also have your phone charger, because like the information is so intense. I wasn't on my phone a lot, but I was here and there, and by like 3 o'clock my phone would be pretty much dead, so I would have to run and get it or something like that. By the way, bathroom breaks, if you need, they call it bio breaks. If you need to take a bio break, just feel free, turn off your camera or just leave, go and come back. You don't need to ask permission or anything like that. As long as you're not gone for long periods of time, I'm sure that's fine. Be comfortable. So you're sitting in a chair for like 4 hours, and then you have your break, and then like another 3 hours. So make sure you're in a chair that's comfortable. Have a pillow to sit on, or a pillow to support your back, or whatever you think you'll need ahead of time. And have headphones. If you can, it'll be a lot better, really as a courtesy to the other people, if you have headphones on, because then you're not getting all background noise, especially if there's people walking by or kids around. They won't be as blaring to the other listeners. And be mindful of when your mic is on and when your mic is not, because there is a lot of times where people didn't realize their mic was still on, and they were talking to someone in the background or screaming or whatever it may be. So just for your own sake, be aware of that. So yeah, so that's day 1. Day 2 was better because you went through day 1 and you knew what to expect. Day 2, you come mentally prepared. So day 2, your things are starting to make a lot more sense. Things are starting to connect the dot, and it goes a lot more smoother. You learn how to write your first offer. At least we did, which was pretty cool. And you go over the clauses, which is very important and very helpful. Day number 3, things got real confusing. And I don't know if it was just a lot of information or they just went into some really complicated clauses, but day 3 started to get real fuzzy, and you're like, okay, whoa, what are we doing again? So you do an offer, and then you do a counter, and you go over the bunch of possibilities. We went over all the different forms, the amendments and things like that in day 3. And then going on to day 4, there's a lot more. This was the most clear day, because especially after day 3 being so confusing, day 4, you know what questions to ask in order to get clarity on those things. And they're very open about questions and ask as many questions as you want. Or they're on the system, there's a button that you can click to say raise hand, and then they'll call your name and you answer the question. Or there's an open chat for the whole group, and you can just ask whatever question there and they'll get to it at the next spot. So day 4 went by a lot faster, cleared up a lot of questions from the previous days, and we went into multiple offers, which is very nerve-wracking but very exciting at the same time. So with the multiple offers, it was going really, really good. And then at one point, it got real complicated again. But overall, it's stuff you definitely need to go through. Day number 5 but in general, the days, they go by pretty slow because you're literally sitting in one spot for so many hours. It's a lot. But day 5, it was good that we only had class from 9 We had class from 9 to 12, and we had break from 12 to 1, and then we learned again from 1 to 2:30, and then we had a 30-minute break, and then the exam started at 3, and you have up to 3 hours, so it goes from 3 to 6, but as soon as you're done, then you're done. And it's through Proctor Track, so the same system as all the other exams.